This is the Southwest Outdoors Report, powered by your Texas Chevy dealer.
Hi everybody, on our show we take it as a challenge to travel our 4-state region in search of some of the most unique fishing opportunities available in our part of the country. And on this week's episode we touch on the sport of fly fishing. It's something that's more done in the northern and Rocky Mountain parts of the country, and it's done very successfully along the Louisiana and Texas Gulf Coast for inland species. But today we talk about fly fishing in fresh water, particularly for bass, brim, and sunfish. While we're out doing that, we're going to take you around the region for this week's fishing reports from our team of reporters in the field. Also this week on the Lawrence Hot Lake of the Week, we take you to deep East Texas for some grass bed bass fishing tips. And on Barry's Real Fishing, we talk about the Texas Parks and Wildlife Department's Go Fish program for state parks. We'll have your big catch of the week photos later on in the show. And this week we've got reports on not one, but 2 oil spills in our region. The one you know about along the Gulf Coast and one you may not have heard about at Lake Allen Henry in West Texas. Brian Hughes has that information a little later on. So right now the Bass Tracker Pro 16 goes in the water and you go back to the FSN studios. Here's Heather with your Chevy weekend plan.
According to the Slunar tables, the best times for fishing this weekend will take place before sunset and again later in the afternoon. Peak times on Saturday will be from 3:40 to 5:40 in the morning and from around 4 until 6 in the afternoon. Our days are starting to get a little bit shorter with the sun rising about 6:30 and setting at 8:35 p.m. Have a great weekend, everyone. Now back to Barry for some fly fishing.
Thanks very much, Heather. We've made it out onto the lake now in the Bass Tracker Pro 16 and going to be fishing with this fly rod 2 ways. Going to be fishing up top in the shallow water to see if we can get a few fish to come up and eat a topwater type bait. And if that doesn't work, we'll pull off the deeper ledges, put a couple of weights on, and I'll show you how that works a little bit later. But just like in any other bass fishing situation, we'll be fishing drop-offs here in the summertime. In order to help me find those underwater ledges, I've got a brand new product here. It's the Lowrance Elite 5. It's very inexpensive. If you thought you couldn't afford a nice Lowrance unit, you can afford either the Elite 5 or the black and white version, the Mark 5. Very easily installed, and it'll do everything you want, including a great GPS. Put your own mapping in the little card slot or use the mapping that comes with it, and it's a great sonar unit as well, and we'll use it today to find these underwater drop-offs where these bass might be holding. Stay with us. When we come back, we'll get right to your local fishing reports on your favorite lake from our team of reporters.
This is the Southwest Outdoors Report, powered by your Texas Chevy dealer.
Got him. Bass. All right, that's a way to get it going. Good way to get it started. Welcome back, everybody. This is your Southwest Outdoors Report talking about fly fishing today. And that's a little bass. Caught him on a little soft plastic floating swim bait. We're gonna put him back. I'll tell you a couple of tips right off the bat if you're gonna get into this sport of fly fishing a little bit. You want to get you a decent quality fly rod and reel, and they can be a lot of money, but you don't have to spend a ton of money. Just get a decent quality fly rod and reel. I recommend sinking fly line. Floating fly line can be a pain if you're going to try to fish subsurface. Second thing you want to do is if you're going to fish from a boat like I'm doing today, you want to make sure that the deck is as clear as it can be. And you see I cleared all my tackle, all my pliers, everything down onto the floor of the boat. Keep this top deck clear because you're going to be stripping fly line. You get you a good fish on there and it can get all tangled up and create a real disaster for you. You could lose a really big fish that way. Okay, we're going to fish along some of this good water here, and we're sending you north to Oklahoma. Here's Gary Dollahan.
A good fish fry can be as much fun as catching fish themselves. Some of you may though have seen recently that the Department of Environmental Quality for the state of Oklahoma has issued an advisory for fish consumption in as many as 16 lakes in the state. I talked to Gene Gilliland, the Central Fisheries Supervisor for the state, and he says don't let that be a concern to going and catching fish. In some cases you want to do your homework to make sure what you're catching and keeping are species you should be eating, but it's really on a lake by lake and a species by species basis. The way you do your homework on that is go to the DEQ website and look up your body of water, and on that body of water it will define the species that have concerns and also identify the groups of people that need to watch out from eating those species. As far as the fishing in the state right now, some of our lakes on the eastern part of the state are up from recent rains 2 to 4 feet. What you can do to catch bass on those waters right now is go along the old shorelines, throwing soft plastics, which is going to be 2 to 4 feet deep, and then throw top waters early and late up in that new flooded vegetation. One thing about them, you can't catch them if you don't go. See you on the water.
This week on your Lawrence Hot Lake of the Week, it's hot summertime, and when I think of summertime, I think of grass bed fishing for largemouth bass. And when I think of big grass beds, I think of Sam Rayburn Reservoir in deep East Texas. So let's locate it for you right now and show you some good hot spots on the Lawrence HDS 5. We locate Sam Rayburn southeast of Lufkin, Texas. And we'll take a look at a couple of my favorite spots right down here by the dam. We switch over to the Navionics Hot Maps Platinum software for lots of good chart detail, and we locate the dam here on the south end. The two spots I want to highlight for you are easy to get to. They're right across the open lake to the north of the dam. One is Farmers Flats right here, and the other is Needmore Point here. Now we zoom into the Farmers area and show you that the whole area is a giant submerged grass bed. You can catch a bass anywhere in this region, either shallow on top of the grass or deep off the outside edges. Now we zoom a little further to the northeast to the Needmore Point area, and it's the same deal. Tons of grass beds. Look for irregularities like dips, ditches, points, or holes in the grass. Stay with us. Coming up next, Cajun Phil and Kevin are down in Louisiana, and it's time for Barry's Real Fishing with the Go Fish program at Texas State Parks.
The Southwest Outdoors Report, powered by your Texas Chevy dealers, is brought to you by quality award-winning Tracker boats. Fish the finest. By Lawrence, makers of the HDS, High Definition Systems. And by Gene LaRue Lures and Bobby Garland Baits. Quality soft plastic baits made in Oklahoma with American pride.